Hi friend, in this particular tutorial or in this particular lecture, what I'm planning to do is basically show you how to install Java, and we're talking about Java 21 here. Okay, so we're not going to work with something like Java 8 or Java 7 that you can see in many ramshackle old videos in YouTube, for example. So a lot of people start taking up videos on what do you call it, Java 8, and I don't understand why. Maybe they're just backward. Java 91 long-term support. So anything you do with full stack Java applications, you're gonna have to end up working with servers. So we're talking about Linux server. So this is a Debian 13 server, and in this server, I'm gonna show you how to install Java 21 long-term support. Okay, to start off with, and then we're gonna create a developer's environment by installing Pulsar. Okay, which is basically alternate of Atom. Okay, so Atom has been deprecated now, so we're gonna utilize Pulsar for that. But also Pulsar will embed a couple of different packages that we need for terminals. Okay, so you can work with your Linux terminals while you're coding in Java. So this all gonna be wrapped up with roughly half an hour lecture in here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna go right into my terminal, the console or terminal, okay, in Linux in here, and you can see a couple of things. One is basically if I just type Java version, it will tell nothing. Bash, which is born again shell, Java command not found. What it means? It means that Java is not installed into this computer on this server. Okay, so there are many ways of doing Java installation. So the Java comes with servers, but I don't want you to do that because you ended up having a different versions of Java, and that's fine. But I want long-term support Java 21. So this lecture is going to be focused on how to install that, and then we're gonna fire it up, and then you see Java versions. And I'm gonna write some bunch of Java code as well at the end of the lecture to test that Pulsar is actually parsing out our Java code, and we can actually compile it. Okay, so this is all gonna be roughly half an hour lecture. So from here you can see Java is the best enterprise level programming language for creating web applications, and you can do anything and everything you can think of. The rocket that goes into the probes that goes into anywhere in NASA's work probes in Mars. So you can think about Neptune and Pluto and Voyager 1 back in 1970s, and we're talking about all this kind of stuff that's going on outside of our solar systems. Programs have been created, right? This is all boils down to software, and somebody's creating these programs in NASA, and they're utilizing Java. They're not utilizing JavaScript, they're not utilizing Python. Okay, so they're utilizing Java or C++. Okay, you got to understand these two things. Okay, nothing flies with Python. Okay, it may be good for data analytics, but it's not going to fly some real enterprise level work. So if you're not becoming a web application developer, just stick with Java. So Java was developed by a guy called Gosling back in 1990s, okay, early 1990s, and he was working with Sun Microsystems. Okay, so that company now is owned by Oracle. Okay, so the Oracle is the best in terms of developing everything now because everything's kind of infrastructure into your Oracle. So we're gonna go into Firefox, which is my favorite browser. Okay, and then the first thing I'm gonna do here is basically in the Google search. Okay, so in the Google search in here, I'm gonna type not Java. I'm gonna type JDK download. Okay, so you can see that JDK download just pops up right here. So what is JDK? JDK stands for Java Development Kit. Okay, so that is actually Java, and with Java Virtual Environment and all of the different compilers, it comes with it. So it's like a package kind of thing. So you need the whole thing all together, and then you end up coming to this particular website, Java downloads. Okay, don't worry about United Arab Emirates. I don't know why the hell it came up right like that, but it can come up arbitrarily to any nations. Okay, so if you're sitting in Sweden, it may just show up Java downloads United States. You never know. I'm not in United Arab Emirates, trust me. So from here, I just click that, and then I'm gonna accept all of that, And then from here you can see Java 24. Don't go for that because it's not long-term support. The one we're looking at is basically this second tab, JDK 21. Click that tab, and because I'm on Linux, okay, so you have to look into what we're looking for. So I'm running Debian package here. So how are you going to check Debian package here? So you go to the command line, and if you can type up right here something like cat Debian, Debian 13.0, okay, and this is the version that I'm utilizing, and this is Debian. Okay, so this is the Debian system. Okay, this is a Linux system. It's the Debian Server systems. Okay, so this is what I'm utilizing here. So I'm going to kill it right here, and it says Debian package. So that's the one that you need, .deb package. Okay, this is not an execution file like Windows. You click it and everything works like a magic. It doesn't work like that in server side. So what we're going to do first is basically I'm going to download this package. So it's downloading into my downloads directory. Okay, so it's downloaded. So I don't need Firefox anymore at this point. So I'm going to kill it. And then if you go to File Manager right here, and you go to Downloads directory, you see JDK 21 64-bit machine, and it is downloaded. So don't click it right here because it's gonna mess things up, right? So you don't click that right there. So I'm gonna kill the File Manager. I don't need it. So you go to File Manager right here. So in the console command line, and from here we're gonna do everything from here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is c-l. That is the command to get into the root. Okay, so once we are here, then we do cd root, and then do cd/home/pp, which is my username. Okay, and then download. So this is basically the paths. That's where I'm going. Sorry, it's actually Megan. And downloads. Okay, so now we're here. You see that .deb package. So what we do need to do is basically install that package. I'm going to issue a command that will install that, and the command is dpackage dpkg -i. Okay, and then you can put okay, and press enter. So what's going to happen now? JDK 21 is going to be installed into your machine. As simple as that. Okay, so once it installed, Java is installed, and you don't have to do anything. It's just setting up JDK environment, and you're all done. Okay, as simple as that. So from here, you type Java version. Java 21 is installed, and install with a standard edition runtime environment with Java virtual machine. VM stands for virtual machine. Okay, so that all comes under Java development kit. So one thing is out of the way, so we can do exit, and you can also do it. Now you are in user, normal user, and you are still able to see Java version. Java is installed. So Java is installed. So we will write some basic Java code at the end of this tutorial to show you that it's actually working. But it needs an environment. You can write boilerplate Java code into any notepad or anywhere like somewhere, but it never flies. So you need something like a good developer's environment. There are a lot of them. I know VS Code is one of them. But I'm going to utilize something what we call, you have Eclipse and NetBeans. They're like an integrated development environment. I'll cover some more lectures in the future where I'm going to show you how to work with Eclipse, but they are actually utilized in production level. So you're talking about creating web applications, and you utilize something like IDE. Mostly nowadays IntelliJ IDEA, but also Eclipse and NetBeans are also very popular. So we're going to cover different things, but for now, for people who want to get into Java and get their feet and knees wet and work with Java code, I would suggest you go into Pulsar, which is basically Atom. The Atom was deprecated now because Atom doesn't have certain packages that we need. So we're going to go into the Pulsar website, and we can get into Pulsar, installed into our Debian, and then we're going to integrate a couple of packages that I need for embedding this console thing that you see right here. Then we can actually start writing the basic Java code and run it into our console that is embedded into our Pulsar. That will be the conclusion of the lectures altogether. So for that, what we need to do is we're going to get out from our command line from here, and then we're going to go back to a Firefox pack. And in the Firefox, I'm going to Pulsar, P-U-L-S-A-R editor. Okay, you can type Pulsar editor. So this is definitely the site, I believe. So if you go into the site Pulsar edit, okay, yeah, so it says Pulsar is discontinued atom editor. That's what I was telling you before. So from here, what you do need to do is you get into download, click that download right here, and then you'll see regular releases, and we are talking about .dev package again. Okay, so for our cases it would be Debian, Debian with .dev. Okay, so that's all we need. Okay, so ARM is for different processor architecture, so don't worry about that. And then you have rolling release. Don't worry about rolling release at all. So you want the regular release Debian. Okay, so press that, and what's gonna happen now is gonna download that .dev package. It's easy, you know, it's exactly the same easy process that we follow for Java to issue a command. So that's what we're going to do. So we don't need anything. We're gonna keep Firefox, and then we go back to your terminal again, and then we're gonna go put down your root password right here, and then obviously cd root. So you're in the root, and then do cd Megan, and then downloads. Okay, and then if you do ls-l, you see it's in the download directory where you have Linux Pulsar .deb. So we do dpkg package, dpkg, okay, -i, and then Linux Pulsar, and press enter. So what's going to happen now? It's going to install into your server. Okay, and that's a GUI interface as well. So it is not a command line interface. That's what we're going to do. We're going to integrate the command line into our Pulsar. So it is what it is doing now. So just give it a few minutes and it will be installed, hopefully. So that's all done. So we don't need anything else from here. So we're going to exit, and then we can exit. Okay. So now if you go into your GUI interface in here, you go to programming, you see Pulsar right here. So we want the Pulsar add to the panel. So right here. Okay. So we're gonna fire up Pulsar for the first time. Okay. So click Pulsar right here. It takes a bit of a while for the first time to actually get integrated in everything and get off on the board. Okay. So it's coming up right here. So now what I'm gonna do from here, I'm gonna enhance the screen, so you're gonna lose my beautiful picture. Okay. So here. Okay. So there we go. So you have on the left hand side, the first pane you have is basically add folders. This is really cool stuff. So we're gonna click it. So if you just have that little left arrow, if you click that, then it's gone. So you can actually right arrow. You can click the right arrow to bring it back right down there. And then there's the welcome here, and then you have welcome guide right here. Okay, you can see that, and then you have untitled, which is this one, and then you have a changelog tab. In the left, you also have that left key, and then you have the repository. So what happened is we're gonna kill all these because we don't particularly need it, but sometimes people get a bit panicked. We're gonna kill it all of them. We don't need any of them really. Changelog, we don't need that. Okay, so let's say we're gonna kill the untitled as well. So we have blank screen. So from here, somebody asked me one day, how am I gonna get all those back, because I want them back. Okay, that's fine. So you stroke, keyboard stroke is Control Shift T, and they will be all back again. Control Shift T, Control Shift T, and Control Shift T. Okay, so you got your repository back, you got your welcome page back, you got your welcome guide back, you got your changelog back, whatever. So I don't need any of them, so I'm going to get rid of all of them. Okay, so now what we do need is a couple of packages, because once you install for the first time, one thing you'll notice in here is that there is no terminal embedment or terminal integration. So terminal, what we mean is basically that terminal. So if you write the code and you want to compile it, you want that terminal codings in here. If you cannot do that, then you can actually have to have two screens, that where you have working with the terminal and also working with the add-on. But we don't want that, because this is quite handy to have some package that integrated, so that we can have half of this pane on the right hand side. The half of this pane is basically your terminal, and on the top of that you can write your code. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So from here, what we're going to do is basically, and these two packages are integrated we're gonna find those packages and integrate into this Pulsar. So we're gonna go to packages, open package manager, okay, and then I can actually bring my beautiful picture back and then I can go back to install, and then in the search in here, the first one we call it Performia IDE. So I'm going to type Performio, and as soon as you type Performio, just wait for a while, and it is searching for something. No packages found. Well, just get rid of Perform. Just type Perform, something like that. It should show up. Just type no package found. That's quite interesting. It's still not showing up. But for Mia, I find it very interesting. It's not coming up. It was there before. So in the search, but for looks like they got rid of it, and there was a package. The problem with this particular software, they get rid of a lot of stuff. Okay, never mind. So we can do termination. So we type termination. Maybe here we go. It's very odd, but it didn't show up for the first time. So we have a platform. Sorry, it was my fault. My apology. It is actually Platformio. Okay, so Platformia. Okay, so now it's gonna show up. Yeah, here we go. So Platformia is a weird goddamn name. Platformio IDE terminal. So what we're going to do with that, not Platformio IDE, is a Platformio integrated development environment IDE terminal. Okay, so that's the one that we need to click install, and it's gonna get installed. Okay, just give it a few minutes. This is the package, this is the software that we need to integrate into a Pulsar. So bear in mind, this is what we're doing in Pulsar, not in console or anywhere else. Okay. Right. Okay. So go to settings. There's nothing you need to do, and after that, the other one is for terminations. Okay, so you termination. Just type termination, and here we go. Termination comes in. Install. Click install, and it's gonna get installed. So that's all you gotta do, and then now we can integrate that into the Pulsar. Okay, once these two gets installed into your Pulsar, these are two small little packages that will help you. And the last part of this lecture is coming now. So what's gonna happen now? We're gonna click the settings right here, and then you can see this plus sign here, or you can see plus sign here. That basically means you can bring the terminal right up. So press that, and you got the terminal right here, and that's all we needed. So we need a terminal right here. Okay, so that once you start writing code right here, you can actually check this all up. So in here in the terminal, for example, if I type who am I, it tells me I'm Megan. That's one of my cats who passed away, who passed away in 2020. So from here, if I type Java, same thing. It's kind of same thing that you've seen in the terminal here. Okay, so that has been integrated with the Pulsar. How good is that? That's pretty cool. So from here, so what we need to do is basically we can start writing off some Java code. That's something that we need to do. So before we do anything, do ls-l and see that we have a bunch of directories right here. So all these blue things are actually directories. So what we do also need to do, we need to create a Java, a Java directory, a test Java test. So we call it mkdir. Okay, so that's make directory Java code, maybe Java code, for now. Okay, so just create that and do ls-l again, and then you can see Java code right there. After that, in that directory, we're gonna start writing our code. So now, so your project is currently empty. So add folders. So click that here, and then go into home, and then you see Java code right here. Add that folder. Click OK. So now you created that folder. So under this folder, inside of this folder, we can create a new file. Okay, so we're gonna call it. Remember, the file name is important in Java. Whatever file name you're gonna give it to it, that same file name will be classed as a class in Java. Okay, so because we're creating a file, I'm gonna call it bush cat because I'm a cat. I love cats. I love all kinds endangerment across the globe. I'm a huge fan of wildcats like tigers to lions to mountain lion. You're talking about snow leopard and fishing cat. You're talking about ocelot and oncida. They all are kind of endangered because of the human disturbances across the tropical and semi-tropical ecosystems. And I call myself bush cat because they live in bush. So we're gonna create a class and we're gonna celebrate our first Java code and dedicate it to the cats, all the cats across the globe, including the domestic cats. I got 3 cats. Well, one of my cats passed away in 2020, so I have 2 cats now. So bush cat. Okay, so bush cat dot and it's finished with Java. Okay, so Java is the extension. So you created that, and now we're gonna start writing Java code, a basic Java code. So what I'm planning to do is basically I'm going to write a line, a statement like bush cat for bush cat. Okay, I'm the bush cat, I'm for all the bush cats. So bush cat for bush cat. And I want that line to reiterate 100 times, but I want every after 10 lines there will be some gap, and in that gap I want a statement with Java rules. Okay, and then there is a gap, and then bush cat for 10 times, and then again Java rules, and you're going to continue like a script for 100 times, right? So 10 times 10 chunk or 10 block, and within that block there is space, and then we say Java rules. So let's say that's the program you want to create, and that's a very, very basic program. So let's just start writing code. So Java started with public class. Okay, so we're going to do public class, and then we're going to call it the same bush cat. You have to bear in mind you can call it private class as well. Okay, if it's going to be only private and nobody can access it with applications. So in our cases we're gonna make it public. So public class bush cat, and then class is created. So you can see it is auto completing. This is pretty cool. Also it's auto completing everything for you. And then we're gonna create our method. We're gonna stick with the main method. So public static void main, and then inside the main method I want a string, of course. Okay, so I'm gonna put out the string class. Okay, and then I want also what I want is arguments. So we wanna create different arguments in there. So the arguments at the moment we keep it blank, and then because we created a main method, we create our braces. So you can see there's 2 braces, but it's all completed for you, so don't worry too much about it. So the first is a class. In the class we created a main method. Okay, so that's the way the Java works. Really cool. Because Python is not like that. It's weird, and anyone can kind of deprecate and update the Python code. It's a nightmare. It's everyone writing in a different way. But you cannot do that in Java. Everyone has to write the same way. So if you're reading some other people's Java code, it's easy because everyone is writing the same way. Python is not like that. Anyone can write in a different way, and that's very odd because you're gonna have to catch up with that, and it's just a mental pain. I don't like Python. PHP is cool though. I like PHP. I worked with PHP in the past, and the C++ is cool, but Java is my favorite. So from here, so what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna start creating some variables. So the first variable I want to create is called counter. So integer counter. So I don't want the variables like decimal places or something. And then I want to create another variable, and I'm going to call it x. Oh, before we do that, we want to set the counter, start off with counter equal to 0. Okay, why it is counter? Because I want the line counter, so I want to create the everything finished with semicolon. Okay, the other thing I want to do is basically create some kind of variable where it can be accessed as a for loop. So we're gonna, because we reiterating, we need to bring for loop or while loop. So I'm going to stick with for loop. So I'm going to do int x. So this is like one of my other variable, and then we're gonna bring the for loop for x equal to 1. So start off with x equal to 1 semicolon x. This is basically very basic logic. X less than or equal to 100. Okay, so we want iterating 100 times. Okay, and then x plus plus. Okay, and that x plus s basically means x equal to x plus 1. Okay, so do you understand what I mean? So it started with 0. It started with 1 plus 1 equal to 2, the next one is 2, and 2 plus 1 equal to 3, next one is 3. You understand how it's iterating. So that's why we call it x plus. And then inside of that for loop, what I want to bring a system class. So you go to system dot out dot println. Instead of that, we're going to bring the string Do you remember the string we put out in here in the main method? So we're gonna write a string, and my string is, well, string is a statement. It's like capitals, letters. So we're gonna call it bushcat or bushcat. Okay. So that it needs to be printed 100 times. That's what we're declaring. And then I want to set the counter plus plus as well. Okay, so what is happening here? Line counter start from 0. I'm going to continue counting from 0 all the way towards 100. And so you're going to reiterate the same way. So in here, it's basically the same thing by saying counter equal to counter plus 1. Okay, so that is basically a comment. And you can see that I put out the comment in here. Oh, I forgot that commenting. I haven't done commenting for a while in Java actually. Is it that hash sign or something? What's the number sign? Here, okay, sorry. It's two forward slash. You put 2 forward slash, that's comment. So that's not gonna count as a compile. Okay, so that is the same as counter, it will counter plus 1. So you have counter 0, 0 plus 1 equal to 0, sorry, 0 plus 1 equal to 1, and then 1 plus 1 equal to 2, 2 plus 1 equal to 3, 3 plus 1 equal to 4, and it all going under our for loop, right? And once we do that, like I said to you before, I want a little bit of a tweak on it, like kind of a test on there. So I want something like after 10 lines, I want a gap, and in that gap, I want Java rules. Okay, just the Java rules. Okay, so how are we gonna do that? So we're gonna bring conditions in here. Okay, so it's cool. So if condition, if counter equal to 10, so once the counter is 10, the first 10 lines typing bushcat for bushcat, and then what we want is we want to bring the system class again, system dot out dot println, and what we want is just a gap, so there's nothing, so empty string. Okay, and then we bring the system dot out dot println again, and now we want Java rules. Okay, Java rules. Okay, so that's what we want. One of my friends is called Steph, and she's cool friend, so I could say Java rules, Java and Steph rules. Okay, Java and Steph rules per se. You can call it that way. Okay, so from here, I want another line. That line is gap. So I want to system.out.println, and then I want the line gap. Okay, and then I set the counter back to 0, because after 10 iterations I want that back, so that you can go into loops and then do the 10s and go to 0 and then go back to 10, go back to 1 and then do the same things, and then there will be gap. Do you understand? You'll see how the programs run. So we do counter, set counter equal to 0. Okay, so what it all means is basically we're setting the counter under conditions inside of the for loop. So it's a nested conditions. You can see for loop, and inside of that for loop we have nested condition. But the good thing is that all these braces is all automatically done for you, so you don't really have to worry about anything else. So I think this is a very basic programs that I just created, and I'm going to save that. So it's been saved, but bear in mind the class is bushcat, and the same class is the file name of the class. Okay, so now we go to the command line right here. So clear the screen right here, and then we need to compile that. Don't forget compiling it. So we're gonna go back in here. So now ls minus l. So we're gonna do Java code. So we do cd Java code. Okay, and then once we're in the Java code right there, we can clear the screen, give some breathing area. ls minus l, and now you can see that bushcat.java. Okay, so that is your file. Okay, that file you can actually run it as a manual. For example, bushcat Java, and you can see that in here as well. That's one way of looking at it. So Control X, Shift Y, Control Y, Shift Y. Oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. So Control X and then Shift Y, press Enter. Sorry. So you can look into all these things right there as well. So from here we can compile that. So the compile code is Java C. Okay, Java C. So before you compile, just a quick check that you didn't miss any semicolon or anything like that. Everything looks fine to me. I sometimes do mistake because I'm getting old. So from here Java C, and then our code is bushcat. Press Enter. See, I can come out, oh yeah, everything's cool, so it's compiled without any issue. Now I'll do ls minus it's compiled. So now we're going to run it, but don't make mistakes here. One of the things that you need to make sure that you're running a Java code, and Java is basically a class that is created. That class is what we call it. It's not your Java bushcat.java is your source code, and then you have something in between that is not. This is what they call it bytecode. It's not really machine language. So what happened with the Java virtual machine takes that code. Okay, so Java C compiled your source code and then it became a bytecode. Java virtual machine does not know what bytecode means, so it takes it. The interpreter of the Java virtual machine is going to translate to the machine language just based off your platform. Okay, so if you're in the Linux, it knows it's in Linux and it will work out that just fine. If it's in the Windows systems, then it will know it is Windows systems. The interpreter will then convert it to machine language based off that platform. By platform, what I meant is the operating systems. Okay, so that's why Java virtual machine that comes with your Java development kit or JDK can be used in any operating system. So you can write the code, and as long as you have your bushcat.class, and as long as any machines in any systems have Java installed into it, you can actually translate that bushcat.class. You can transfer that. You can translate or transfer that, whatever you want to do, and that bytecode is going to be translated into machine language based off to that platform. So remember that theory. So from here, now we're going to run it. So we're going to run it in here. So we do Java and no compile. There's no need to compile. Just type bushcat, but don't type Java. Why? Because we don't want to have two extensions. Because if you type Java, then what happens is basically it's going to think that you wanted it to compile it back on again. So you're going to get .java. You don't want that. So just type bushcat Java and press enter. So what's happening now? That's what we wanted, and it happened just fine. So that exactly is basically this code. Just the code on the top, and you can see what's happening. So in here you can see that what happened. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So every 10 statement bushcat for bushcat, and then we want a gap, line gap, and that's what we have written down here. If counter equal to 10, so after 10, system out printer equal to, there is nothing I want, so that's the gap. And then I want the Java step rules, so that's what I put down here, and then gap again, system.out, and the counter is set to 0 because after the 10 I want the counter back to 0 to reiterate another 10 times, and that's what it is doing. It's doing 10 times again, and then back onto the space, line space, and then Java and step rules, and then 10. So what's gonna happen? You're gonna do the 10 blocks, right? 10 times 10 equals 100. So I hope this lecture has put some understanding about how you can actually create the developer's environment in Linux systems. Because you're gonna be a Java developer, you're gonna be working in Linux servers, okay? You're not gonna be working with Windows, because production level is all about Unix-based systems, okay? It doesn't work with Windows systems. So if you're becoming a Java full stack application developer, the entry level job salary starts from $60,000. Okay, so it's not a bad salary to start off with, but then after 1 year of experience, you can get into something like $250,000 or $150,000. Okay, you can easily get that after 1 years of experience. But first, without any experience whatsoever, if you're becoming a Java developer, the entry level job salary is $60,000, and I'm sure you can get there. It's very dead easy. All you gotta do is basically just make sure that you work on Linux systems. Okay, make sure you learn Java well, the Java core, so how the function work. What I've showed you is basically every line is code, and how the code is actually functionally working with your Java. Make mistakes and rectify it on your own, and that way you learn. So in my code, I haven't made any mistakes, so far. Why is that? Because I've been doing it for the last 30 years, quarter of a century. So that's why I didn't make any mistakes, because a lot of people in the first time they will make a lot of syntactical mistakes, okay, and then you have logical error mistakes, like x equal to 0, or x equal to 1, or x equal to 100, or x equal to 99. So these are the things that will fall into place if you really practice every day writing code. So here with semicolon mistake, there's no semicolon mistake, there was nothing, everything compiles 1 plus 2, and that's exactly you need to know. And practice every day, learn everything, take your time, 1 year, and then you apply for a job as Java application developer, you end up in somewhere internationally. Don't focus on jobs in your own country, because you're not getting a job in your own country. That's not the way. I work internationally. So basically, you work with different company, but you can sit down anywhere to work. So focus big things, big project, and work with Linux. Okay, Linux-based server, so Red Hat or Debian. So this lecture is basically rounded up to Linux-based system environment applications development. And hopefully, I shall see you in my next lecture.